Every great fortune begins not in the bank, but in the mind. The world you see before you is but a mirror of the thoughts you hold within. Prosperity is not an accident. It is the natural result of aligning your consciousness with the divine law of abundance. When you understand that riches, opportunities, and success are spiritual first and material second, you unlock the secret key that has opened golden doors for kings, inventors, and visionaries since the beginning of time. The riches you seek are already prepared for you. They exist now, awaiting your recognition. Life is a storehouse of unlimited treasures, and your acceptance of them is the only price of admission. The invisible substance of wealth is molded and shaped by your words, your faith, and your inner images. If you speak lack, you carve lack into the fabric of your experience. If you speak abundance, you summon gold, silver ideas, and blessings to flow toward you as naturally as rivers find the sea. Your outer world is a perfect reflection of your inner belief. If you see success as distant, it will remain a stranger. But if you claim it now, feel it now, live as though it is yours now, the law of supply responds with precision. For the universe has no resistance to the confident soul who knows they are heir to every good and perfect gift. You do not have to struggle to create riches, you need only to remove the obstacles you have placed in your own thought. Fear, doubt, and envy are thieves that must be banished. The moment you replace them with faith, gratitude, and expectation, you open the channel for wealth to rush in from every direction. What you expect with joy, you attract with certainty. There are habits, simple, yet mighty, that build an irresistible magnetic field around the individual. Habits that turn desire into demonstration, vision into valuables, and ideas into income. These are not merely habits of action, but habits of consciousness. The wealthy man or woman lives in an atmosphere of abundance long before the coins and contracts arrive. Their words are seeds. Their thoughts are blueprints, and their feelings are the attracting current that draws fortune closer each day. When you grasp that money is but a symbol of divine supply, and success is the evidence of harmony with universal law, you cease to chase and begin to attract. You cease to doubt and begin to expect. And expectation is the very hand that receives the gift already given. The habits you will learn are not tricks or schemes, they are eternal principles dressed in practical form. They work for the farmer and the financier, the student and the sovereign, because they are founded on the unchanging law as within, so without. If you'd like, I can now continue and list the 10 habits in the same style so the whole speech flows seamlessly. To speak abundance, never lack, is to recognize the creative power that rests upon your words, and to guard them as you would guard a treasure chest filled with gold. Every syllable you utter is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the unseen. If you plant seeds of lack, you will harvest lack. If you plant seeds of abundance, you will reap a harvest beyond counting. The tongue is not a mere instrument of communication. It is the wand of the magician, shaping the substance of life into form. The law of life responds with mathematical certainty to the vibration of your speech, for words are not empty. They are carriers of energy, charged with belief, and they go forth to fulfill their purpose exactly as spoken. When you say, "I can't afford that," you are issuing a decree to the universe that scarcity is your chosen reality. The law takes you at your word and mirrors it back in your circumstances. When you say, "Money comes to me easily and frequently," you are sending a signal into the great storehouse of supply, and all channels are moved to make it so. Your spoken word is not a wish, it is a command. And the more feeling and faith you invest in it, the faster and more powerfully it manifests. To speak abundance is to train your tongue to align with the vision you hold for your life, not the appearance of the moment. You may look at your bank account and see a number you wish were larger, but you do not give that fact the authority to dictate your speech. Instead, you declare the truth of abundance that exists beyond the visible. You say, "Divine supply flows to me in perfect ways," even when the evidence is not yet in your hands. You speak as if the harvest has already come in, because in the unseen it has. This is not lying to yourself, it is aligning yourself. You are not pretending something is true. You are affirming the greater reality that your senses cannot yet measure. The visible world is slow to catch up to the invisible law, but it always does. You speak abundance not because you are trying to force it, but because you are harmonizing your vibration with the frequency of wealth, and the law of attraction is infallible in its response. Consider that every complaint you voice is an order form for more of the same. If you say, "Everything is so expensive," you have signed the contract for continued expense and struggle. If you say, "Opportunities and discounts always find me," you are opening the door for conditions to shift in your favor. Your words are the architects of your reality, drafting the plans for what will be built in your life. A builder does not keep changing the blueprint if he wants to see his structure completed. Likewise, you must hold your speech steady and consistent with your chosen vision. Many people sabotage their abundance through casual speech. They use phrases like, "I'm broke, I can't win," or "Nothing ever works out for me," without realizing they are issuing powerful commands to the law of manifestation. They may laugh as they say it, believing it to be harmless, but the law is impersonal. It does not judge your tone, it only mirrors your content. Whether spoken in jest or in seriousness, words carry creative authority. It is wise, therefore, to make every utterance serve your highest good. Speaking abundance is not merely about money. It is about affirming richness in health, relationships, opportunities, and ideas. When you say, "Life supports me in every way," you set a current of unseen forces to arrange events, people, and circumstances to prove you right. When you say, "I am always in the right place at the right time," doors open where once there were walls. The same law that governs financial prosperity governs all other forms of good. Training your speech is a conscious discipline. At first, you may catch yourself speaking in ways that contradict your desires. This is natural, for most people have been conditioned from childhood to repeat the language of lack. But as you listen to yourself more closely, you begin to replace each negative declaration with one of abundance. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't do that," you immediately reframe it. "Everything I need to do this is coming to me now." If you start to say, "I'm not lucky," you replace it with, "I am always divinely guided and blessed." Over time, these statements become your default language, and the energy you emit shifts accordingly. The spoken word does not work alone, it works in harmony with thought and feeling. If you speak words of abundance while secretly believing in lack, your results will be slow. But when your words, thoughts, and feelings all agree, you create a magnetic force that nothing can resist. Speaking abundance becomes more than a habit, it becomes your natural state of being. You stop noticing reasons to complain, and you start noticing reasons to celebrate. You no longer speak of what is missing, but of what is flowing in. It is important to speak abundance not only about yourself but also about others. When you speak well of someone's prosperity, you are planting seeds of goodwill that also bless your own garden. Envy and criticism close the door on your own flow, for the law you apply to others is the same law that applies to you. To say, "He is so lucky, but I never get a break," is to affirm your own lack. But to say, "Good for him, blessings are flowing to all of us," is to align yourself with the same river of supply. Even in casual conversation, you can turn the tide toward abundance. When someone complains about rising costs, you might respond with, "Yes, and isn't it wonderful how new opportunities always appear to meet our needs?" This is not ignoring reality. It is choosing which reality you will strengthen with your words. The more you do this, the more you will find that situations arise to match your declarations. Speaking abundance is a way of living in faith. It is declaring the harvest before you see it, because you know the seed has already been planted in the invisible. It is choosing to water the seed with words of life, not poison it with words of fear. Every time you affirm prosperity, you are polishing the mirror of your life, so it reflects the infinite wealth of the universe, without distortion. You are reminding yourself, and the law that governs all, that your inheritance is rich, limitless, and already given. To see yourself already successful is to take possession of the prize in the realm of mind before it is delivered into your hands. Success is not a chase. It is a claiming. The invisible blueprint of every triumph begins in the imagination. And the clearer and more vividly you hold that image, the faster it solidifies into the visible world. The world outside cannot resist the world you create inside. If you can see it with the eyes of faith, you have already laid claim to it. The unseen responds to the image you carry, just as surely as a shadow follows the object that casts it. When you see yourself already successful, you are not hoping, wishing, or bargaining with fate. You are aligning with the unshakable truth that what you desire already exists in potential form. And that potential is just as real as the finished result. The laws of creation require that you first have the pattern before the substance can fill it. You are the designer, the architect, and the visionary of your own life, and your inner picture is the mold into which the material world must flow. This seeing is not mere daydreaming, it is an act of conscious creation. You place yourself in the scene as if it were now. Breathing the air of your achievement, hearing the voices of those who congratulate you, feeling the texture of the life you have chosen. You see yourself signing the contracts, holding the keys, speaking from the stage, depositing the checks, receiving the awards. Whatever represents your version of success, you make it so vivid that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish it from reality. And in doing so, you program it to bring about conditions that match the vision. The mind moves toward what it is most familiar with. If you constantly feed it images of failure, rejection, and defeat, it will unconsciously guide you toward actions and decisions that confirm those images. But if you saturate your mind with the feeling and vision of success, it will work tirelessly, day and night, to create the circumstances that match your mental picture. The subconscious is obedient but not creative. It takes orders from your conscious mind. Seeing yourself already successful is the way you give it clear, unmistakable orders. You may ask how one can see success when present conditions appear to contradict it. The answer lies in the law that the inner precedes the outer. What you see now is the harvest of past thoughts and images, and it has no authority over the seeds you plant today. If a farmer judged the future harvest by the barren field before planting, he would never sow. Yet he knows the soil will respond to the seed, the water, and the sunlight. Likewise, your life will respond to the images, the faith, and the persistence you invest. To see yourself already successful is to ignore the temporary evidence of the senses when it contradicts your goal. This is not denial, it is discipline. You are training yourself to hold the higher vision regardless of appearances. You might be in a small apartment now, but in your inner world, you walk through the spacious rooms of your dream home. You might be working in an entry-level position now, but in your mind, you step into the corner office, directing projects and making high-level decisions. You might be counting pennies now, but in your imagination, you are counting profits and signing generous checks. The law of life does not bring to you what you deserve. It brings to you what you continually see and feel as yours. Emotions are the fuel for this vision. The picture alone is not enough, you must charge it with the feeling of already having achieved it. If you can close your eyes and feel the relief, the pride, the gratitude, the excitement, then you have activated the magnetic current that draws it into form. The stronger and more consistent your emotional connection, the more rapidly it manifests. The mind responds to the language of feeling far more powerfully than it does to the language of words alone. Every person who has accomplished great things has lived this principle. The inventor sees the finished machine before the first piece of metal is shaped. The author sees the completed book before a single word is written. The athlete sees the victory before the starting gun is fired. They do not wait for the world to give them proof, they create the proof within themselves first. They live from the vision, not toward it. And by doing so, they make it inevitable. When you walk through your day with the image of your success ever present, you begin to act in harmony with it without even trying. Your posture changes, your tone of voice changes, the decisions you make change. You begin to gravitate toward opportunities that align with your vision and to pass over those that do not. You attract people who match the frequency of your inner image, and you repel those who would weaken or contradict it. You make choices as if you were already living the life you have seen, and those choices become stepping stones toward its physical expression. This practice requires persistence, for the world will often tempt you to drop your vision and conform to its current conditions. You will hear voices of doubt, both from within and from others, that question your certainty. But if you understand the creative process, you know these are merely echoes of the old pattern trying to maintain its hold. You must hold your vision steady, as a captain holds the wheel of the ship steady, even when waves crash against the hull. The clearer your vision, the less power those waves have over you. It is also important to strip away any mental images of failure or limitation. If you see yourself as unlucky, unworthy, or incapable, you are creating a second blueprint that competes with the first. The subconscious cannot serve two masters. It will follow the dominant image. This is why you must become vigilant over your inner world, replacing every image of defeat with one of triumph. Over time, the new image becomes so dominant that the old one dissolves completely, and success becomes your new normal. To see yourself already successful is to live in a mental atmosphere of completion. You speak from it, act from it, and make decisions from it. You carry yourself as one who has already received, and the world responds accordingly. Doors open, ideas arrive, and resources appear because you have made room for them in the only place that matters first, the unseen workshop of the mind. To expect wealth with unwavering faith is to stand in the certainty that the good you seek is already on its way, regardless of appearances, delays, or obstacles. Expectation is not idle wishing. It is the confident assurance that the seed you have planted will grow, because it is rooted in the unchanging law of cause and effect. Faith gives life to the seed, and expectation draws it into form. When you expect wealth, you align your mind, emotions, and actions with abundance, and the universe has no choice but to match your vibration with results. This expectation must be unwavering, because the moment doubt enters, it interrupts the flow of supply. Just as a farmer does not dig up his seeds each day to check if they are growing, you must resist the temptation to question the process. You planted through your vision, your spoken word, and your feelings, now you allow the law to work. Faith is the soil, expectation is the sunlight, and both are needed to bring the harvest. The habit of expecting wealth is the habit of living as if you already possess it in substance, even if it has not yet taken material form. To expect wealth is to reject every thought of limitation as a lie against the truth of your being. The divine source is infinite and knows no shortage, and you are connected to that source. If you hold the image of abundance in your heart, yet walk through life bracing for disappointment, you are canceling your own order before it is filled. Expectation is the magnetic current that keeps the channel open. It says, "I know my good is coming," with the same calm certainty you would feel if you had already received the confirmation in your hand. The person of unwavering faith does not depend on outer signs to maintain expectation. They do not wait for the economy to improve, for someone else's approval, or for a specific set of circumstances to unfold before believing. They know the outer is shaped by the inner, not the other way around. When there is no visible evidence, they expect all the more, because they understand that the unseen is the womb from which the seen is born. Expectation is a form of mental preparation. It prompts you to act in ways that welcome your good. When you expect guests, you prepare the house. When you expect wealth, you prepare your life to receive it. You open bank accounts, create systems, educate yourself, and make room for the increase you know is coming. These acts are not wishful thinking. They are declarations in action that you believe in the law of supply and are ready to handle its gifts. To expect wealth with unwavering faith is to carry yourself in thought and feeling as one who is already wealthy. You spend without fear, knowing more is always coming. You give freely, understanding that giving is the other side of receiving. You see opportunities where others see none, because your mind is tuned to the frequency of gain rather than loss. This expectation sharpens your awareness and makes you alert to openings you might otherwise overlook. Many fail to experience increase because their expectation is mixed with fear. They may affirm abundance in the morning and worry about bills by the afternoon. This divided mind sends a confused signal to the law, which always mirrors the dominant vibration. To hold unwavering faith is to choose one signal and keep it steady. You do not beg for wealth as if it were reluctant to come. You declare it as your natural inheritance and expect it as surely as you expect the sun to rise. You must also guard against the influence of others who speak in terms of scarcity and hopelessness. If you allow their words to become your expectation, you have given them power over your destiny. Surround yourself with voices and images that affirm possibility and expansion. Read, listen, and converse in ways that strengthen your faith rather than weaken it. Expectation is strengthened by repetition, so keep your mind continually fed with thoughts and images of plenty. The more you expect wealth, the more your subconscious mind organizes your behavior to match that belief. You take bolder steps, approach new ventures with confidence, and make decisions that align with long-term prosperity rather than short-term safety. Your energy changes, and with it, the energy you draw from others changes. People sense the confidence of one who expects success, and they respond with trust, opportunities, and support. It is not enough to merely want wealth. Wanting can exist alongside doubt. Expectation is a higher state. It is wanting combined with certainty. A person who expects to be paid for their work acts differently than one who merely hopes. A person who expects their investment to grow watches the market with a different eye than one who fears loss. Expectation changes posture, tone, and presence. It makes you a living invitation for wealth to arrive. Unwavering faith does not mean you will never face challenges. It means challenges do not shake your certainty. When a temporary setback comes, you see it as part of the process, not as evidence of failure. You remain calm in the knowledge that the law is still at work, arranging the unseen pieces that will deliver your increase. The appearance of delay is often the very proof that the wheels are turning beneath the surface. To expect wealth with unwavering faith is to trust the invisible supply as much as you trust the visible. Just as you trust a planted seed to grow beneath the soil, you trust your affirmation, vision, and inspired action to produce results in the physical. You do not dig up the process with worry, you water it daily with gratitude and act as if it is already yours. Gratitude, in fact, is a natural companion to expectation. It keeps your focus on the flow rather than the lack, and it multiplies whatever is already in your hand. Your expectation must be present in every area of your life, not just in finances. If you expect good news, you will see more of it. If you expect people to treat you well, you will draw that behavior from them. Wealth is not limited to money. It is the overflowing of good in all directions. Expectation for abundance in one area reinforces abundance in others, creating a cycle of increase. When your faith is unwavering, you do not measure progress by the clock or calendar. You know the manifestation is coming in perfect timing, and that the law cannot fail. The moment you align with the vibration of your desire and hold it steady, the process begins. You expect wealth because it is your birthright, your natural state, and the inevitable outcome of your alignment with the source of all supply. To remove fear, doubt, and envy is to clear the mental field in which the seeds of success and wealth must grow. These three forces are like weeds that choke the healthy plants before they can bear fruit. Fear contracts, doubt delays, and envy poisons. If abundance is to flow freely into your life, you must uproot these intruders completely, for they cannot coexist with faith, gratitude, and confidence. Every time you yield to fear, you send a signal to the universe that you do not trust the supply. Every time you entertain doubt, you interrupt the channel through which your good is arriving. Every time you indulge envy, you close your own door by declaring that someone else's gain somehow diminishes your own. Fear is the great paralyzer. It causes hesitation when action is needed, retreat when persistence would win the day, and silence when opportunity calls for a bold declaration. Fear is not an external force. It is an internal image projected onto circumstances. The thing you fear often does not exist in reality. It is a phantom born of past failures, imagined losses, or stories you have been told. The mind creates pictures of disaster and then reacts to them as if they were facts. To remove fear is to replace those mental pictures with visions of success, safety, and victory. Fear cannot remain in the presence of a firmly held image of abundance, because the mind cannot hold two contradictory pictures with equal force for long. Doubt is the quiet thief that works in the shadows. It often appears reasonable, whispering questions like, "What if this doesn't work?" Or, "What if I fail again?" Doubt is dangerous because it presents itself as caution, but its true nature is paralysis. While fear shouts, doubt whispers, and in its subtlety, it undermines your persistence. Doubt will cause you to water your seed one day and abandon it the next. It will lead you to change your plan too soon, or to accept lesser opportunities because you do not believe the greater ones will arrive. To remove doubt, you must learn to recognize its voice and answer it with truth. The law of supply cannot fail. What I have asked for is already mine in the unseen. My only task is to remain aligned. Each time you replace doubt with certainty, you strengthen the mental habit that keeps your vision steady until it materializes. Envy is perhaps the most deceptive of the three, for it masquerades as admiration while secretly breeding resentment. To envy another's wealth, success, or position is to declare to your subconscious that you believe you cannot have the same or better. It is an admission of separation from the source of supply, as if someone else's good must come at your expense. This belief is a lie, for the source is infinite and cannot be exhausted. Every time you feel envy, you are affirming lack. You are telling the law that abundance is scarce, and that you are on the outside looking in. To remove envy is to train yourself to bless the success of others, seeing it as proof of what is possible for you. When you rejoice in the wealth of another, you are planting a seed for your own harvest, for you are aligning yourself with the vibration of abundance rather than scarcity. The process of removing these three forces begins with awareness. You cannot uproot what you do not see. Fear may disguise itself as being realistic, doubt as thinking things through, and envy as harmless comparison. You must become vigilant over your thoughts, catching these intruders in the moment they arise. The instant you notice fear, you replace it with an affirmation of safety and abundance. When you catch doubt, you replace it with a declaration of faith. When envy appears, you replace it with genuine blessings for the one you envied, and a renewed affirmation of your own limitless supply. Removing fear, doubt, and envy is not a one-time event but a continuous discipline. Just as a gardener does not weed the garden once and forget about it, you must regularly inspect the garden of your mind. Some weeds return after being pulled, and some lie dormant until conditions favor their growth. But the more consistently you remove them, the weaker their roots become until they can no longer take hold. It is important to understand that fear, doubt, and envy cannot simply be removed in the sense of leaving an empty space. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the mind will fill any empty place with whatever is most dominant in its environment. This is why they must be replaced with their opposites: fear with faith, doubt with certainty, envy with gratitude. If you do not actively cultivate these opposites, the weeds will return. Faith expands the heart, certainty steadies the mind, and gratitude opens the channel to receive more. The removal of these three forces also changes the way you experience opportunities. Without fear, you will step forward when the moment presents itself. Without doubt, you will hold steady when results are not immediate. Without envy, you will celebrate the victories of others and use them as fuel for your own journey. This creates a magnetic field that draws opportunities to you, because you are no longer resisting them with conflicting signals. Your speech will also change as these intruders are removed. Fear often speaks in words of limitation. Maybe. What if? It's too risky. Maybe. I'm not sure and see. Envy speaks in comparisons. Why them? It must be nice. As you replace those with words of abundance. I can. My time is coming. You change not only your vibration, but also the vibration of other vibration, but also the way others perceive themselves, including the rest of your. So respond to ye. The world listens to the language you speak, and when your words reflect faith, confidence, and goodwill, doors open where before there were none. The energy freed by removing fear, doubt, and envy is immense. Fear drains energy by keeping you in a constant state of imagined danger. Doubt wastes energy by making you start and stop, start and stop. Envy wastes energy by focusing your attention on another's life instead of your own. When these drains are sealed, you have a surge of mental and emotional power to direct toward your vision. You can invest that energy into actions that bring results, into creative thought, and into building the habits that produce lasting wealth. Without these three, you walk through life lighter and more open. You no longer pause to wonder if you should move forward. You simply move. You no longer question if the result will come. You know it is on its way. You no longer feel a sting when others succeed. You feel joy. Because their success confirms the truth of abundance for all. Fear, doubt, and envy are chains that keep the mind bound to the old pattern. Their removal sets you free to create without resistance. To live in harmony with universal law is to align every thought, word, emotion, and action with the principles that govern all creation. The universe operates by exact laws, not by chance. Just as gravity never forgets to pull or the tides never forget to rise and fall, the laws of supply, cause and effect, and attraction never fail to respond to the vibration you emit. Living in harmony with these laws is not about forcing outcomes, but about moving in the same direction as the current instead of struggling against it. When you are aligned, progress feels natural, opportunities appear without strain, and your efforts are multiplied by the unseen forces working with you. These laws are impartial and impersonal. They do not bend for preference or sentiment. They respond with precision to the mental and emotional states you maintain. If your thoughts are of abundance, gratitude, and expectation, the law reflects those conditions in your outer life. If your thoughts are of lack, resentment, and fear, the law reflects those as well. Harmony means you choose thoughts and feelings that match the reality you wish to experience, knowing that the law will unfailingly mirror them back to you. Living in harmony begins with recognition of cause and effect. Nothing in your experience is random, it is the effect of a cause set in motion by you, consciously or unconsciously. Every word spoken, every image held, every attitude maintained plants a seed. Some seeds grow quickly, others slowly, but all bring forth fruit in their season. Harmony with the law means planting only what you wish to harvest. You would not sow thorns and expect roses, yet many do this mentally by speaking of limitation while desiring expansion. Alignment requires consistency between your inner planting and the outer harvest you seek. Another universal law at work is the law of supply. There is no shortage in the divine storehouse. Every form of wealth, opportunity, and resource exists in infinite measure. Scarcity is a concept created by the mind when it forgets its connection to the source. To live in harmony with this law is to move through life with the awareness that there is always more coming, that the stream of supply is continuous. This consciousness dissolves the need for grasping, hoarding, or competing. For you know that what is yours cannot be withheld, and that your gain does not require another's loss. The law of attraction is the harmonizing force that draws to you the people, conditions, and resources that match your dominant vibration. This is why harmony with the law begins within, not without. You cannot attract abundance while vibrating with fear of loss. You cannot draw success while rehearsing images of failure. The vibration you send is the invitation you extend to the universe. Living in harmony means becoming the embodiment of what you wish to receive. Thinking as the wealthy think, feeling as the successful feel, and acting as though you already hold what you desire. Harmony with universal law is also a matter of trust. Just as you trust that the sun will rise and the seasons will change, you trust that the law will deliver the results of your consistent alignment. This trust removes the anxiety that causes so many to abandon their vision before it is realized. When you trust the law, you are free to take inspired action without the pressure of making things happen through force. You move forward confidently, knowing that your role is to plant, water, and expect, while the law ensures the growth. Living in harmony also requires balance between giving and receiving. The law is circulatory. What you give returns to you multiplied, and what you withhold is withheld from you. If you desire more wealth, you must become a channel through which wealth flows, not merely a reservoir that collects and holds. Giving with joy signals to the law that you live in the consciousness of plenty, and the law responds by maintaining that plenty. This applies not only to money but also to time, encouragement, kindness, and opportunity. Harmony with the law extends to your treatment of others. The energy you send out in thought and feeling toward another is energy you will meet again. Resentment, criticism, and ill will disrupt your vibration and create conditions that return to you in unpleasant form. Blessing others, wishing them success, and seeing them in their highest good aligns you with the flow of abundance for all. In universal law, there is no separation. What you give to another, you give to yourself. Awareness is the foundation of harmony. You must notice the patterns of thought and behavior that bring discord into your life. Complaining, worrying, doubting, and comparing all send signals of lack. When you catch yourself in these patterns, you consciously replace them with gratitude, faith, and affirmation of the truth you wish to see. Over time, the new patterns become habits, and harmony becomes your natural state. Living in harmony with the law also means being receptive. Many block their good not because it is unavailable, but because they are closed to receiving it in unexpected ways. The law does not always deliver in the form you imagine. A new opportunity, a helpful connection, a sudden idea. These may all be answers to your request. By being open and flexible, you allow the law to work through the best possible channels rather than limiting it to your own preconceived plan. Harmony is not passive acceptance. It is active cooperation. You do not simply wait for life to happen. You participate in the creative process by holding the right mental state, speaking the right words, taking inspired action, and remaining steady in faith. You recognize that your inner state sets the rhythm to which the outer world dances. If you want the music to change, you change the song within. The beauty of living in harmony with universal law is that it removes struggle. You stop fighting circumstances and start shaping them. You stop reacting to appearances and start creating from cause. You stop seeking shortcuts and start walking the direct path of alignment. In this state, you find that wealth, opportunities, and success flow toward you naturally, not as isolated blessings, but as the inevitable outcome of being in tune with the principles that govern all creation.